We're going live. Hoping everything
Here
works
we are.
with the audio.
Another week.
Another week, another dollar. Or not. You know, depending on where you're at. Look at that camera
Hey
angle.
guys, what up?
What's up? We are back again.
Welcome back to Testing Normal. Testing Normal. Episode 56. The Big 5-6.
The Big 5-6.
Big 5-6. Jordan is approximately 17 years away from the 5-6. The Big 5-6.
Yeah, I didn't do that
Right?
math, but thanks. Yeah.
Yeah, no problem, man.
Yeah.
17 years away from the 5-6.
5-6, yeah. This is Curtis, and I'm Jordan.
Hey guys. It's a podcast where we talk about anything, everything we want, suckers.
Woo! That means we control the show.
Oh man. So little piece of education for you guys, just starting the show off strong with edumacation.
Whoop.
Jordan was commenting on something being the bane of his existence. And I was like, dude, where'd that word come from? Like, where's that term come from? Does anybody even know? Bane of my existence?
And you just knew right off the bat, didn't you?
So I knew that it actually was a term for an old wooden ship. No,
what?
I'm just kidding. That's not it. That's not it. I'm kidding. No, the bane of my existence. Actually, it is. The source of it was a word that was from Middle and Old English called Bana, B-A-N-A.
I thought you were gonna say Middle Earth.
Middle Earth would be amazing. Thank you, Tolkien. But no, B-A-N-A. It's an Old English word that meant destroyer or murderer. And then now that term became obsolete, and somehow Bana became bane.
Bane.
So basically, and that's where there's like certain like poisonous plants like wolf's bane, henbane, and deadly. And so the bane of my existence, like you're the death of my existence, you're the deadly to my existence.
Right. Huh.
Yeah. So
it's
not education for y'all.
So to be really, really clear, it has nothing to do with a wooden ship.
Nothing to do with a wooden ship, or nothing to do with Batman.
Okay. I think I can handle that.
Even though that would be kind of cool if it had to do with both those things somehow. I don't know. I don't know. Dude, how's your week been?
It has been. Today, honestly, I have a bit of a headache. Is that a COVID-19 symptom?
I think that's just the craziness, a symptom of all the craziness going on.
Yeah, I don't think I slept well, and then I just been trying to down water, and that's how I feel. So if I feel a little bit off or whatever, I'm not gonna look it obviously in here. I'm gonna look just as amazing as I always do in virtual reality. But in real life,
I was gonna say you really
I'm like
your
fending off the headache.
Facial skin looks like really well
pale?
exfoliated, and
I look kind of pale. Well. Yeah. Last night we watched a movie in VR with last week's guest, Jono. And
Jono boy.
It was really fun, but my avatar had gotten janky because I reinstalled Windows and didn't reset up my avatar, and I'm glad I did before now. But I did not go with NASA shirt. I was feeling a little chilly, so I wore a sweatshirt.
Oh, nice. Okay. Are you wearing a sweatshirt in real life right now?
No, not at all.
Oh, okay.
Just in virtual reality. Because kind of it's a little breezy out here over the city. So
gotcha.
Yeah. Oh, so what do you got this week? How's your week been?
Dude, my week's been busy. A lot of working. And I'm really excited for the sun though. Like in Oregon, we've had several, it seems like weeks of rain. And we're looking at like potentially a week of sunshine, so I'm super stoked about that. Or at least not rain. Like
we had our false spring, as I call it. Everyone gets excited because I think it's going to get warm, and then it snows or hails, and it without fail it did that. It hailed like 5 times. Yeah. And I am with you. I am ready for the warm weather. It's supposed to be like 70 on Wednesday.
Stoked for that, dude. So I'm in the process of but like working on my backyard this week.
Yeah.
On my day off.
You cut down a tree last week.
Yeah, I cut down a tree last week, and so then today I had today off as well. So
That's awesome.
Tore up a bunch of stuff.
Did you get 2 days off in a row? Or did you work yesterday?
Ready? No, I got 2 off in a row, baby.
Whoa.
Oh yeah.
That's rare for you these days.
I'm getting everything ready to plant arborvitaes on our back fence line.
Ooh, nice.
And pretty pumped about that. I found a place that sells 8-foot arborvitaes. So.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Are they spendy?
Not terrible. Not terrible.
How many do you need?
They're only I think $780 for one
Each?
plant.
For one plant?
So it's
That's
great,
not too bad, considering someone had to grow that and water it and all that kind of stuff.
I'm just joking. Not 780. Not 780.
Maybe 780 for all of them.
Right. Yeah, that's actually close to it.
Yeah.
They're 60 or something a plant, but for being 8 foot already.
Yeah, for being 8 feet tall. Jeez,
that's awesome.
That is awesome.
Yeah. So I'm actually getting everything prepped and ready for them, but I'm gonna look and ask the guy hey, how much does it cost if you just deliver them and put them in for me? Is that gonna be cheap or is that gonna be expensive? What's that gonna look like? So if it's an extra $100, then it's worth it for them to do all that work for me.
Oh, for sure.
But if it's $500, I'm nah, I'll slave away. I'll do it.
Dig it by hand.
Yeah, I did that with my last ones. Last house.
I would imagine, but the holes you have to dig for some of those are insanely big. Depending on how big the root ball is.
I would rent an auger from
auger?
Ace, an auger, one of those
okay.
hole diggers.
The root ball is that small on an 8-foot tree?
Well, it would help to start the holes.
Oh, yeah.
You get the hole and then you just loosen up the surrounding area.
Oh yeah, it's science. You don't need to explain it. I probably
wouldn't. You probably wouldn't get it, dude. It's science.
No, I wouldn't get it. I wouldn't get it at all.
You probably wouldn't get it, dude. You probably wouldn't get it.
So the news this week.
Oh my god,
I'm scrolling through everything, and it's just all COVID related. Do you have anything to start us off that is interested you this week that is not related to this virus that clearly everyone hears about all the time? Which I have things to say about, but I said we'd try, but there's no way we're not going to talk about it.
Well, there's things that are not. Well, okay, I saw, and actually it's funny because I think you actually said something about this too. How there's these fires in Florida.
Yeah.
Taking out rental cars.
Yes. No. Yeah. That's what Haley was telling me earlier. I was like, what can I talk about that's not COVID related? Because that's everything. She's like, well, 3,500 rental cars got taken out.
Yeah, which is a ton. That's 3,500.
So they were stored in a field. They were overflow rental cars in a field, and they said they lost count at 100 or something, and then it's totaled 3,500, and it went on for 18 hours.
But this is what I don't understand totally. Okay, I get having a fire in a field, a grassy field or whatever.
Yeah.
Maybe even not that tall grass. But cars usually are not that
Oh, there's things that they'll flame up if they get hot enough.
Really? What?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, a tire takes a ton of heat to get
if they have
fire, right?
If they have mag rims, then they go up like a mushroom cloud. I one time thought that there was a nuclear missile that had hit Salem. And when I was driving into it, I was like, should I be driving here? And I came upon it, and it was like a minivan where the mag wheels had ignited, and you can't put the magnesium out once it goes. So they just had to kind of sit back and just watch. And it was a mushroom cloud over the city that happened. So I would imagine if there's enough metals and stuff that would react to high heat, that it could be insane really, really fast.
Yeah, I just can't imagine seeing a bunch of minivans and Toyota cars and whatever just randomly catching fire that quick, basically in a short, small field. Right. But it seems like there was something or someone would have had to pour some type of accelerant on them to get those suckers going.
Well, if I saw a picture of it and it was a field with trees around it and stuff so there was a ton of flammable things that could have just kept going for a while. Okay. And if even just one of those cars went, then it would ignite the one next to it, to the next to it, to next to it. It would just, that's probably why it went on for so long. Because they had no way to safely move them out of the way. That's just my guess. I mean, imagine trying to move cars. It's one thing to plow around a field that's burning, but you can't plow through cars,
True.
But
dude, the other thing, I was watching this. Okay, what was the name of the guy the actor off of The Office that played Andy? What's his name?
I can't remember. It's hard to
Anyway, so for those people out there listening, the guy that played Andy on The Office, or he also played the dentist on The Hangover.
Yeah.
I can't remember his name, but hilarious guy, funny dude, right? I was reading this article about him, and during this time when a lot of people are just watching shows, he was talking about how his best palate, he was basically saying his best palate cleanser show.
Yeah.
is Seinfeld. And
Dude,
last night after we watched a scary movie with our brother Jono, we were kind of all talking about, okay, we need some palate cleansers or something.
Right. So you went and watched
and
Seinfeld.
I went and watched Seinfeld, yeah.
Okay.
But it's crazy how that show holds up. That's what I just wanted to say real quick. Seinfeld holds up after being out for 20, almost 30 years.
Yeah.
And all these social interactions and dynamics of these individuals hold up. And it's not like boring. It's still funny and it's interactive. So, obviously, there's things that have changed. But
number one, okay.
Yeah.
So number one, the camera's over there, so I didn't mess with it.
That's okay.
I actually have a Seinfeld link and something I was going to talk about Seinfeld today in the show notes.
Yep.
And
love it.
Did you see it?
I have seen it, but I haven't read it.
Okay. So, number one, before I go to that, I think it's weird to watch TV shows now that we've been in this social isolation and social distancing, because you watch the show and you're like, you guys are way too close to each other. And it's just kind of weird to watch shows where that's not going on. It's almost foreign, which is weird because it hasn't been that long. But here's what I wanted to say. It's a TIL actually that I have, and it's this. Today I learned this today. TBS sped up Seinfeld by 7.5% so they could add 2 more minutes of commercials.
Ooh, that's interesting. So
they're
talking slightly faster, or I wonder if they was like the entire show they sped up, or just little individual spots.
Yeah, no. That's what they did. They sped it all up, just enough that you probably wasn't perceivable, but they could add more commercials.
Interesting. That's clever.
Because that wouldn't be very much.
I bet a lot of shows do that, though. I bet a lot of shows do that, or have done that.
I don't know. This is the only one in TIL.
That's the only one that's ever done it?
No, I don't know. It's just I didn't read that far, but I read
history,
enough I read enough to find out that it checked out. Yeah.
In the history of television, that's the only one that's ever done it.
I have no idea, but I know that Seinfeld did it, and you like Seinfeld, so I do. I had it in my TL, so
that show holds up, man.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's basically. I mean, I've read like a little bit of interesting things about. There was some. We brushed on it last week though. X-rays that are coming from outside the universe that they don't really know what they're coming from, right? And they thought it was dark matter. It's really not dark matter. So it's like this signal. They're like, what the heck is this signal?
Would they know if it was dark matter though, since they don't really know what dark matter is?
Apparently, they had some way of testing to see if it could be dark matter, and somehow they feel like it's not.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But since they have only know that it's there and not how to sense it. Did you just drop your remote on the floor?
No, my phone.
Oh, just your phone. That's fine. Okay, so I actually do have, let's see. Here's a fun video. I thought something fun would be nice because, people are out there doing nothing. But look at this. Watch this video. This guy mashed up 2 videos.
That's cool.
I'm going to put it up on our screen. This guy mashed up 2 videos and put them together.
That's so clever. So it's a guy wakeboarding, for those that are listening. It's a guy wakeboarding over the freeway, and he mashed up a video of him driving and looking in his basically like a rear camera.
Yeah, like out the boat. And he's like doing it in traffic. And it lines up perfectly. It looks like he's trying to dodge the cars. See the Jeep? Like he's like, whoa, get out of the way. Get out of the way.
That's pretty good.
Isn't that hilarious? Anyway,
Dang,
I thought that was funny and was
that's dope.
Something that was kind of funny at the top of the news that was there and not other things.
This is what I think we should do next week, Jordan. I think next week we should do an episode where we're gonna have to like purposely focus on this.
Okay.
Not mention COVID once next week.
Unless something cray happens.
Unless something really crazy. Here's the exceptions. Unless either of us get really sick and come down with it, then we can talk about it.
Yeah.
Or if something really absurdly crazy happens.
Okay. Deal. High five.
Deal. There you go.
Oh, it's not working. Okay.
No, it worked for me.
No, it didn't work for me. So I'm glad it worked for you.
All right. Saying that, now we're gonna broach onto the time of the episode where we're gonna talk about subjects that are related to COVID, but it might be like really contentious. But it's gonna be talking about certain subjects that are gonna be tied into that. Okay, right. So.
And then I have some more TILs for the end, and of course we'll have shower thoughts. So.
Oh yeah. Oh, yeah. We both got interesting things.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so, have you been hearing, guys? Everybody out there, listen. This is crazy. Are you hearing about the crazy uproar that's taking place right now with the connection between 5G and the coronavirus?
Yeah, and I don't.
It's happening like in China, in the UK, even like Hollywood stars like Woody Harrelson.
Yeah.
Is making posts saying there's a direct correlation between the new emergence of 5G and the viral outbreak that's taking place.
But
right
how
now.
do you actually feel about that?
Oh,
like real talk.
I think it's silly. I think there's. Yeah. I've yet to. I mean, I guess the hard part is like no one sees any correlation because you can't prove that right now, right?
Right. So, yeah, I think the only correlation is that it came about the same time. Yes, that especially in coronavirus China. Did, but so did a lot of things. So, I mean, you can't say that's causation. Like,
right, yeah, correlation doesn't mean causation.
Yeah, we're still breathing air. There's a correlation between that and the coronavirus spread. So,
yeah, I mean, but dude, isn't that crazy though? Like, okay, so in the UK right now, there's like videos that are up showing people like burning and tearing up those 5G towers.
Oh my gosh.
The 5G towers are getting destroyed.
And I heard
in China they're doing that as well.
Yeah,
several
so
towers
I heard
have
that
torn down.
YouTube is actually cutting down, and so is Facebook, on false posts about 5G being linked to it. Like, it's gotten so bad that they're actually pulling them and chucking them out. So, okay, so like real talk, I think that 5G has some potential dangers. There's enough people out there that have said it. I don't think it has anything to do with coronavirus, but I do think that it can affect health.
Yeah, that's what the singer that sang she's from like India. Right.
Well, there's a ton of people that have been saying this. So
anyways, so like Woody Harrelson and the singer from India, she had a really popular song like in the early 2000s.
Haley says, but I love to hear Curtis talk about COVID. Okay, so here's the deal, guys. We say we'll do that. It'll probably still come up because it's the world.
Yeah.
I don't.
But we'll see what happens.
We can attempt throughout the week to come up with some stuff that maybe is hidden because of this. Because that is one thing that you could say about this. It's an easy time to sneak things through. Yeah. That nobody's going to pay attention to, because even though they're at home and they have infinite amounts of time, they are not seeing that because they're seeing other things. So right. and some of those things are good. Like, I was talking to Haley before this, and she said I could share this. Is that the presidential addresses that happen once a day? Well, I don't think you necessarily need to go watch them once a day. They're actually they're pretty good. And I would say, like, even people that think he's kind of a buffoon, which, you know, like
I got a good example of something to say about this.
But if nothing else, the Q&A at the end is super entertaining. But also, it does show the process, and it shows the people that he's surrounded himself with. So if you don't like him, a lot of the people that there and do talk are really knowledgeable and have been there for a long time doing this kind of stuff and preparing for this kind of stuff. It can be encouraging in a sense if you can get past the fear, you know, of that it could potentially bring up.
So a funny thing with that is Annie and I this morning, we were watching, you know, the most recent address, and it was funny because Annie was like, I can't watch it. She's like, I can't do it. It's too awkward. She's like, when Trump talks, it feels like I'm watching an episode of The Office where Steve Carell, or Michael, is like saying something super awkward, and he's like, what are you doing? It's too awkward. I can't watch this.
Haley said, I like when Jordan talks about tech stuff and Curtis talks about medical stuff. Yeah, we went into this podcast knowing that would be the case and that we would play off each other in that, because there's a lot of things that overlap for sure.
Yeah.
In that arena. So we talked about the Tiger King last week, and Jono hadn't watched it, but he had said that he'd started to watch it this week. But did you see that a tiger tested positive for COVID-19?
I did.
after being exposed to an asymptomatic. What does that mean?
Why
would
tell
me what
that
means.
The tiger is what I want to know.
Super good question. I have no idea.
What would lead somebody to, like?
You know what?
I have no idea why you would even waste the resources. Here's what's annoying about that whole thing. Why would you waste the stinking resources of a test on a tiger when there's hundreds and thousands of people out there that are trying to get tested?
Why would you waste a resource on that when we all know that Carol Baskins gave it COVID-19 anyway?
We all know Carol Baskin gave that tiger more than just that.
Yeah, it's true.
Hashtag where's her husband?
Here's a good question. As you were watching that, you listened to the podcast, so you knew more. What in the heck is the difference between her keeping tigers in a cage and the other dudes?
So the main difference is that she does not breed the tigers.
So they don't get to have fun too?
Well, I don't know. Listen, I mean,
it's not a full life. Not a full life.
But perhaps they were bred prior to coming to her sanctuary.
Yeah, she's just as batshit as everyone else.
Oh no, she's so crazy. She is like, when you just see her eyes, it's like
she's just as crazy.
There's a whole lot of scary going on there, for sure.
For shizzle.
Okay, so yeah, I was gonna say that was the 5G thing, you know, was super crazy. But there was this I was reading about this couple that went on a honeymoon.
Oh yeah, that's this one.
And yes, yeah. Okay, so they went on the honeymoon to the Maldives, like in mid to like 3/4 of the way through March.
Right.
And Maldives are in the Indian Ocean, and they have like hundreds of these luxury resorts off the shore or whatever. And this couple's from South Africa. Well, when they were trying to fly home during the outbreak,
right,
the airports in that area in the Maldives got shut down. And so the couple were like, okay, well, if we go to the airport, we'll get stuck there. And for some reason, all the other countries were able to get their citizens out.
Yeah.
But not the South Africans. So South Africans are stuck in the Maldives.
They're the
only couple. It's just on this resort, it's just 2 people. It's just them.
They look like they're super suffering.
I know, right? But it's only them. They've been there for like, I guess it'd be, I don't know, 4 weeks or something like that. 3 weeks.
Oh my gosh, it is. It's just they have this whole thing to themselves.
They have the entire resort to themselves. Here's the crazy thing though. So the people that work at the resort are not allowed to leave the resort until they leave the resort.
Oh my gosh, until
they leave the resort, then the people that work there have to be quarantined for 2 weeks. So they haven't left yet because they're like, well, where do we go?
Hilarious.
And they're still having to pay while they're there. And so they're like telling everybody like, hey, we're going to run out of money and we're stuck here.
Oh, they're having to pay to be there?
Yeah. So the hotel did give them a discount. Like they were saying normally it's like $700, $800 a night.
What?
So the hotel gave them a discount. And they're like trying to figure out like, okay, how do we get out of here? Well, like just today, apparently, the South African embassy reached out to them and said, hey, you have 1 hour to leave that resort and go to this other resort because we're going to get all the people that are stuck in the Maldives, because apparently there's like 40 or 50 South Africans stuck in the Maldives.
Right.
While all the other countries got their people out.
Oh my gosh.
And they're going to try to figure out how to get them home.
I read in there, like while skimming it, that they're looking at taking a speedboat ride that's an hour and a half to get to one of the main islands to get to the airport.
Right, but then they decided not to do that.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, because they said, well, we'll just get stuck here, so why are we going to try?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Jeez,
but I mean, if you have to be stuck somewhere, you might as well be stuck on the Maldives.
True. I mean, it didn't look like they were suffering. Right? I mean, from the fact that they were having to pay the money, which I think is kind of janky. I mean, if they're stuck there, that's sort of like that's it kind of, I don't know, like they can't do anything about it.
The South African government gave them an option of chartering a private plane for $110,000.
What?
Yeah, and they said, but you have to get the other 40 people or whatever to agree to charter the plane with you. And like none of them were willing to do that. So, or like it was like only like a handful of people were willing to do it with them.
Right.
So it would have been like, basically every person was paying this insane amount of money to try to get home.
Right. Which is dumb.
So that would be wild.
That's kind of hilarious, though.
Yeah, but I mean, if you have to be stuck in the Maldives, why not?
Right. Yeah. Wow.
I think I love that.
Yeah.
So
what else you got?
What else I got? Okay, so let's see what else was interesting. Oh, okay. So the U.S. death rate,
yes,
has during this whole outbreak, because there's been so much people kind of slowing down.
Right.
The overall death rate has cut close to 50%. They were saying.
And is that due to the social distancing, or?
Here's the thing. They're saying close to 50% less death certificates have been received. So that's hard to say for sure whether it's actually less 50. It's that percentage, right? They just say we've had a significant decrease in death certificates.
Yeah. Haley has a question for you. Where do you want to go on your next trip?
Ooh, great question, Haley. Golly, I guess it depends on what is going to be open and available.
True.
In the next year or so.
So probably like Wuhan, China is out.
Yeah, Wuhan's out.
Although they say that they've got it under control and everything's working.
Really?
Yeah, so we should just go there.
I would like to try to get a trip down to Peru. I'd really like to get down to Peru.
That would be fun.
And hit up a little, maybe hike a little bit of the Machu Picchu. That'd be pretty dope.
Probably just like only like to like 26,000 feet.
Yeah. Machu Picchu would be pretty cool.
Yeah.
You can also take a train, I think, up to it, but saying you actually hiked it would be a pretty cool adventure.
How far is that?
It's at least 10 or 15 feet, I think.
I would maybe like 20.
Yeah, maybe like 20. Maybe like 20.
Maybe 20 feet.
Maybe. Okay, let's see. What else has been? Anything else you've been?
Well, no. I guess my question, like deeper on that, are they saying that it's dropped by that because the numbers are? So there's some people that are putting out stuff that says like, oh, the death rate's not what they thought, and a ton of people have it that have never reported it, and so this is no worse than the flu, and whatever. This is not saying that. It's saying that the death rate is down due to us keeping less people sick at a time. Or am I reading
No, I
think
wrong? It's saying that overall, like, there's been less like car accidents because not as many people are driving, right?
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
There's less like incidental, like on the job deaths. There's less, like, because I mean, you're dealing with hundreds of thousands of people that aren't working. You're dealing with all these different things. It's not necessarily infectious deaths. It's just saying deaths in general from all factors.
Right. Okay, I gotcha.
Yeah.
Yvonne Porter, she's saying, Michael wants to know if you want him to print you out a face mask.
Oh, that's so cool. That's so nice of him. That is my aunt, and I'm assuming probably she's talking about my cousin, because I have a uncle Michael as well, which is her husband.
Oh,
Mikey, or Mike and Michael. So yeah, I think that'd be awesome. That'd be really cool. I'm curious, would it be like a plastic shield? Is that what she's referencing? If you're talking about Yvonne, if you're talking about like a shield, that could be pretty handy. I think that they have, I guess, can you 3D, do they have like, if they have like a 3D print thing where it goes around your head and you have the shield in front of your face, that'd be awesome. I'm not sure how a mask 3D printed would work necessarily, but
definitely just mesh, and it would catch things maybe.
Yeah. I mean, if in general, like, it's interesting how they're recommending people.
She said it was like a mask. She said yes. So what you just described.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that'd be awesome.
It's a 3D printer.
Maybe have him message me. Maybe that'd be awesome. So I can kind of get some information, so I don't waste his money and resources if it wouldn't work. But that'd be cool.
Yeah, that's cool. And then you could show us a picture of it. That'd be fun. We could show a picture of it.
Yeah, that'd be really cool.
That'd be
okay,
sweet.
So I had a question for you, actually. This is not COVID related. And everybody out there, this is an interesting question for you to kind of think about.
Okay.
If you...
I'm terrified.
No, don't be terrified. It's not. It's not terrifying at all. If you woke up in the year 2050,
yes,
what would be the first thing you Google?
Ooh.
Like if you somehow fell asleep today, and you woke up in 2050, what would be the first thing you would look up?
I would probably look at tech journals just to see where everything was. Like I would like immediately like start looking for like quantum computing and stuff like that just to see how far it had come. That's where I would gauge my my fears of the world. I guess you could
fears
say.
and hopes.
Yeah, be like, crap. No, we did it. COVID came back, and
no,
like 1 billion people
There's
died.
10 people.
But we were saved by quantum computing somehow.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's probably what I would do. Like, I know that, like,
that's a good answer.
Well, because I kind of know the answer or I kind of know that because when I was cut off from things and went into basic training, I couldn't obviously Google anything. So you get like it's shocking how fast you get behind. And so when I came out, like I immediately just kind of went to a bunch of these different, I just got an email and saw it, and I immediately started looking at all these tech journals just to kind of try to catch up because that's my world. That's what I like, and I can kind of gauge the rest of how things are going to go based on that. So
I just saw Haley said that she would look up friends and family and see who's dead.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah, that shows how much she cares about people and how much I don't think about it.
I would like to say something noble, like I would like to see like, I'd like to say I'd look up to see where, global warming's at or where like technology's accrued to. But honestly, I would probably look up something stupid. I would probably be like, what's the latest movie that's
for some of that, like if it's as
I'm
bad as they said, you could just look out the window. That's the thing. You don't have to Google that. Like be like,
yeah, that's true.
Okay, so
yeah, if I guess that depends. If everything looks totally normal, right?
Right.
Yeah.
If I wake up and I'm like locked in a room and no one's in the hallways in the hospital,
and there's a computer, just a computer in front of you,
but like there's like nobody around to be like, oh no, I'm Rick Grimes. This is The Walking Dead. Like,
here's the crazy thing: 2050, guys, is 30 years away.
Yeah, it's not that far.
It's only 30 years away. That's madness. That's so close.
That is kind of madness. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, super crazy. That was a fun question I thought about.
Ooh, Annie said, I'd want to know how many grandchildren we have.
Oh, that's sweet.
Yeah, see,
that is true.
Both of us went to know people. We didn't care about relationships or people or anything.
I think honestly though, I think technology would be something I would want to look at, but I don't think I would jump to quantum computing. I'd probably think about like what type of like transportation's out there now. Like, is everything electric vehicles? Is there like implants going on?
Well, so you'd go to medical. You basically you're going to your field. So
yeah,
that makes really interesting. That makes sense that both of us went there and that the girls went to relationships.
Yeah. But then I mean, it's not that we wouldn't eventually look at that stuff.
Yeah. But I wonder how many things you'd have on your Facebook page and if Facebook would still be there. What if you just went to facebook.com and it was just gone? Just a picture of Mark Zuckerberg crying and you didn't and you didn't have an account anymore, or you went there and you had like a zillion different posts from all these people like
dude,
sort of stressful.
So everybody's talking about, essential workers right now. And
is there even Google? Super good question.
Yeah, that's a great question, actually.
Ooh, it got bought out by Alta Vista.
Well, and actually, you know what? There might not even be the standard type of computer at that point. It might be some type of like Neuralink.
Yeah, and you're just
how to connect to the Neuralink.
Yeah. Right? What was the show? The Feed? Like you didn't have it, you were disconnected from the rest of the world. Ooh, that's a good one too. Maybe you wouldn't be able to look up anything.
Yeah.
And that would be more horrifying than anything else.
That would be.
People would be making jokes about, oh, you still carry a smartphone? Where'd you even find that? In an antique shop?
Yeah, that's true. Interesting thing though that's kind of developing. So how I saw you had a little link there talking about essential workers, and if there's essential workers like grocery store shopper, grocery store workers,
Oh
gas
yeah,
station attendants.
yeah. Like if they're labeled essential, why don't we pay them a living
they
wage?
should also be paid like an essential wage, almost
Yeah.
like what's like prevailing wage is what I kind of see it as.
Well, prevailing wage
like
is pretty high.
yeah, but why would they get that? I mean, prevailing wage.
Yeah, that's true. At least
should
during this
be
time.
equivalent, or essential should be equivalent to prevailing, at least at this time.
Oh, here's a good one. So, speaking of, so kind of along that line too, did you see that Americans are driving less because of coronavirus and it's hurting the red light cameras revenue? The companies are getting mad. I found out through this article.
I hope they crash.
A lot of these companies are in Australia.
I freaking hate those things.
They're not even in the U.S.
Oh really?
No, they're like a lot of them aren't even U.S. companies.
I've gotten too many of those.
We outsourced our tickets to a different country.
I'm surprised it's not Russia.
That's true. That would be funny too.
But I was gonna say an interesting development with the wages.
Yeah.
Here's an interesting prediction I have for you. You ready for this?
Yes, go.
And it's already starting to happen to larger healthcare systems. So we're seeing right now that many healthcare systems, their main source of income is from elective surgeries.
Oh yeah.
And from hospitalizations, and from minor procedures. Like you can get them in and out, kind of the same thing, same day, that sort of stuff. Well, all that stuff, all the like the Surgeon General, the governors, medical boards have said stop all that stuff so you have the resources to provide care to these individuals that are going to be coming into the hospital, and you don't waste your resources. But these hospitals are starting to hemorrhage financially right now because they're not having any income. Like their main source of income is hemorrhaging. So several hospital systems on the East Coast and a few in the Midwest already have started saying, okay, across the board, all physicians and nurses, we are cutting your pay by 20%.
Oh my gosh.
And a lot of these healthcare providers are like, whoa. We're working more. We're putting ourselves at a higher risk, and now we're getting paid less.
Right.
Huh? And that's going to be I think a common theme and trend that more people are going to start seeing as this lockdown continues further and further and further on.
What's your guess on the lockdown time right now? Just pie in the sky. Like Curtis isn't making executive orders or anything, but like from what you see on the front lines now, and if things haven't peaked yet, what do you foresee happening, at least locally for us in Oregon?
Well, okay, that's a better question. In Oregon, here's my concern. I have concern that the lockdown will turn into a political lockdown.
It already is.
Like if the president is saying, you guys should be out and about, like let's cool down on this lockdown, then our governor will choose to prolong maybe a more aggressive lockdown than necessary for a longer period of time. So my prediction as far as necessity goes, right now Oregon is doing really good. Our social isolation has been very effective, partially because we're not as dense of an area as New York, Louisiana, Detroit, these larger cities. But Portland is a fairly large city, right? It's fairly dense. But we've seen it's been very effective, this social distancing. So I would like to see a faucet, rather than turning the faucet on full, a slow increase of turning the faucet on, so that way we can keep our economy going for some essential and tapering kind of degree of essential, or tapering degree of non-essential. And I would like to see that take place if our testing capacity improves as well.
Right.
So I think we will see our testing capacity improve, and I think that's going to be over the next couple weeks. So we're in April, right? Basically beginning of April right now.
Right.
Yeah. I foresee potentially the middle of June being a good predictor or good potential time where we will be able to have seen hopefully a really good increase in people getting back to modified duties.
Right. So you think like probably the beginning of June?
Well,
That would
beginning to middle.
beginning to middle would be when, but you're saying like you would hope that that's when they would be doing it, so that the faucet would be slowly turning on, to use your metaphor,
Yeah.
at the beginning of June-ish.
Yeah, beginning of June-ish, turning the faucet back on a little bit.
Yeah.
And then if we have the appropriate testing, then we have the capacity to do the preventative measures that are necessary. And in that respect, and the other thing that's going to be important is in the middle of June, we won't be sending the kids back to school. So that's also going to be a huge factor in helping to stem the spread of infection too.
True.
So that I foresee as a potential, if it's handled correctly, it could be a really good benefit. Because if I 100% understand the stress and the strain of people wanting to financially be able to get back into their jobs and being able to get back into earning money, and the impact that's putting on people, and the most infuriating and frustrating and just mind-boggling just failure that I see of our government and of the CDC and of these health administrative systems is that they did not listen to the people that was saying, like, we need to have the testing available, and we need to start this. Even if we were going to start the social isolation, Oregon did fairly decent, but the entire country could have shut down for 2 weeks, 2 to 3, even say 3 weeks, 3 week nationwide.
I think it was like, episode late 40s, you were saying that we should do that.
Right. Yeah, I was saying that 4 weeks, 5 weeks ago.
Right.
So if we there could have been a lot of preventative actions that could have taken place that could have stemmed the curve of this, and it would not have been as painful, I think. But that's just me. Whatever.
Right. Oh, yeah. So you had sent me a video, and we're kind of running long on time, so I don't know if we should play it. But what was?
No, we're doing good. We got plenty of time.
Okay,
so this is a. Go for it.
Well, you could explain it, because you'd explain it better. But you sent this to me shortly before we met to kind of start this up. But it's a good explanation, because there's a lot of people now that are still like riding this is the flu train and making those comparisons. And I think that the video does a great job of balancing that, of saying, like, I get why you would want to make that, but here's why that comparison doesn't hold up. If that makes sense.
Yeah, why the comparison doesn't hold up. I mean, it's important to have kind of a realistic perception of what's going on, and to understand, like, we have to get back to working. We have to get the economy back at some point. We have to get these things going.
Absolutely.
But we also at the same time have to figure out how do we do that in an appropriate manner that doesn't cause more deaths than necessary. Because yes, I agree, it's important for people to start working, and there's concerns of people being abused, being stuck in homes, and lacking the education and potential food and all these things from being stuck at these poor houses and poor homes. But also, like, to say, like, maybe a landlord is frustrated, or a individual that is frustrated they're not making as much money as they could. The value of life is more than them making profit right now.
Right. And some of those, just to kind of push back with the arguments that they would make, would be, well, it's just older people, and they die of the flu all the time anyway. So, it's just people who are 80 and above.
Well, the truth is, I don't know where people are getting their. I see so many. Honestly, I'm about to delete my Facebook. It's so frustrating. It's like I see so many people are saying the death rates are the exact same. They're actually less. They're equivalent to influenza type A and type B. And they're saying things that it's not true. They're getting their facts from sources that are not valid. And
Medium.com.
Yeah, not only are they not valid, but they're not complete. Like, we have basically a month and a half of data on this. I think today we reached, in a month and a half of this outbreak, we're at, I think, over 10,000 deaths now. I think today we're just on the cusp of 10,000 deaths from it. And so it's good to have a realistic perspective on that. We do need to get the economy going again, but also it's, I believe, foolish for somebody to be saying that they understand or that they know what the death rates are of this infection when they are not truly involved in the practice of any type of scientific background or healthcare.
Right.
They have no
basis
other than their Facebook knowledge.
Is what we're at in the U.S.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I think this is an interesting video just to show why there's a concern for it. Yeah. And why it's good to be careful with how we introduce the economy.
Whoa, that was really loud.
It might not be showing up on our side.
It's not yet.
Okay.
It's an ad that I'm letting it get past.
Okay.
I'm gonna let it play just this size because otherwise it will weird out everything we've got going on.
Totally. All right, guys, we're gonna get a little video up here so you can hear it.
One of the most contagious diseases.
Educational thing. This is off of
Just
Vox.
One person is likely to infect between 12 and 18 people. That number is called a disease's basic reproduction number, or R0. Scientists use it to describe how contagious a disease is. Zika, it has an R0 of up to 6.6, super contagious.
That's crazy.
But the seasonal flu, just a little over 1. And COVID-19, the disease caused by the coronavirus, just about 2. That difference between the flu and COVID-19 doesn't seem
so high for Zika,
especially when you look at them next to these really contagious diseases. Plus, a lot of the symptoms of the flu and COVID-19 are really similar. A fever, cough, they can even both lead to pneumonia, which is ultimately how they can both be fatal. So thinking of COVID-19 and the flu as similar is a common and frankly understandable comparison to want to make.
This is like the flu?
It's a lot like the flu.
I like to believe that it's going to end up more like the flu virus.
Oh wait, let's go back to those R0 numbers again.
Who were they?
If the flu has an R0 of 1.3,
they were on,
that means each person gets either 1 or 2 people sick. After 10 rounds, that's 56 total people. And if we run the model with COVID-19's R0 at 2, if one person with it gets 2 people sick who get 2 people sick, after 10 rounds, that's more than 2,000 people.
That's crazy.
This does not happen with the flu because COVID-19 is very different, and understanding how is crucial to understanding how dangerous it really is and why we have to take it so seriously.
When we start to look for that comparison,
I kind of like this guy, and I have no idea
calm ourselves down.
Really, who he is.
But unfortunately, that's not quite the right reaction.
He's the head.
Every year, the seasonal flu
kills
60,000 Americans. As of late March, COVID-19 has killed about 34,000 across the whole world. But scientists expect that number to go up, way up.
Tens of thousands of people a year die of the flu. But we haven't had this for a year yet. We've only had this for a few months. The trouble is coming, and we can predict it, and we can see what's coming, at least to a certain extent.
The first really big difference between COVID-19 and the flu is how long it takes you to feel sick. From the moment you're infected with COVID-19, it usually takes 5 days before you start to feel symptoms. But it can take as long as 12 or even 14 days.
That's crazy.
This is the incubation period.
It's a really smart
virus. The time between when you catch it and when you first realize you're sick. And scientists think you could be contagious during most of this period. The flu, by comparison,
so they don't know
has
that?
An average incubation period of just 2 days. You get sick, and pretty soon you feel sick, and you know you're contagious.
It's variable.
This is what we're used to. But COVID-19 flips that around. You can be contagious and spreading it around for several days and up to 2 weeks before it even occurs to you that you're sick. And that leads to the next big difference.
No human immune system had seen this virus before. Nobody has a natural immunity to it.
In flu season, there's always a number of people in the population who are already immune to the flu. That can be because they got their flu shot, or maybe they've already had that flu
Guys,
strain.
we'll post a link to this video.
And that limits the spread of the virus.
Their
when
data
one
and
person
sources
is
are coming from the
contagious with
CDC.
The flu, they can only spread it to people who aren't immune, who can only
but they're
spread
not,
it to other people who aren't
super
immune.
reliable.
That's why scientists and doctors urge us to get a flu shot every year. If enough people have immunity, they can kind of shield the virus from reaching others. The more immunized people, the more they can protect those that are susceptible to the virus. But COVID-19 is brand new. None of us have had it before, and there's no vaccine. which means nearly everyone on the planet is susceptible. So when a contagious person, who may not even know they're infected, comes into contact with others, it can spread like wildfire.
That's crazy.
And then you see how much more dangerous COVID-19 can be. Only 2% of people with the flu need to be hospitalized.
This is the number that people don't pay attention to.
Who test positive for COVID-19 do. And we're still learning about COVID-19.
Okay, so let's pause that for a second.
But scientists...
This is what I've seen. This is what I've been seeing, is people are referring to the lethality of the virus. And the reason the lethality is, about 1 to 2%, and why that number isn't, so the influenza virus is like 0.1 to 0.9% maybe.
Right.
Whereas the influenza is 1 to 2%, or the COVID, is 1 to 2%, which is significantly higher.
Right.
But the big stark contrast difference is the percentage of hospitalization. With the flu in the past, I would see very few people that would ever need to be hospitalized from it, other than actually more so with young children. But with the COVID virus, we are seeing a high number of people. Up to 30% of the individuals need to be hospitalized,
and not just older people.
Are so low. No, actually, the majority of people that I have seen, now granted, the majority are elderly or immunocompromised, but I've seen, personally, it seems like I've seen more younger individuals, which is strange.
That is super strange. Should I keep it going?
Okay, sorry. We can keep going. Yeah. 2 more minutes, guys.
Somewhere between 1 and 3%. But the flu's rate is even lower, 0.1%. And that's a disease that can kill 60,000 people a year in the U.S. alone. That's what Dr. Anthony Fauci, the U.S.'s leading infectious disease
many people have
expert,
misquoted
tried to
him.
clear up to Congress.
People always say, well, the flu, the flu does this, the flu does that. The flu has a mortality of 0.1%. Sure. This has a mortality of 10 times that. This is a really serious problem that we have to take seriously.
And he's just talking about the average across all age groups. For older people or people with compromised immune systems, it can be way higher. And that's especially scary when you remember all the other things that are different about COVID-19. The infectiousness, how hard it is to know you have it, how susceptible we all are to it. Estimates vary, but some scientists have warned that between 20 and 60% of the world's population could become infected with the virus.
That's crazy.
Because COVID-19 has no cure and no vaccine. The only defense we have against it is social. We can take ourselves out of the chain, not with immunity, but with social distancing. Just physically not being around anyone and staying home as much as possible.
These are all the USPS workers.
Each of us
people
take
at
it seriously. Which is why comparing it to the flu,
and the healthcare workers wearing handkerchiefs.
Helpful.
It's natural to want to find a comparison, to want to make this seem small. When we use the flu as the backdrop, it almost.
So I guess my summary from that is I want to encourage people to don't try to downplay the infection and what's taking place. I think it's okay to state the concern and the need and the importance of getting our economy back going and helping people that are in need. But to make false claims or to make unsubstantiated claims on insufficient and not necessarily well-backed information is not going to help the situation. It's going to cause more confusion and more stress on both sides. So, I think it's great to try to think of solutions to how to introduce things back and get the economy going again. I think I'm all for that, and I am a proponent. The sooner the better. But I think there's measures that need to take place to do that.
Awesome.
Yeah. Okay. Shower thoughts?
Wait, I have 2 TILs that are actually super interesting. Okay. Today I learned that the day that the Late Night with Conan O'Brien premiered, there was an op-ed in the New York Times titled O'Brien Flops that said, "One can't help but have grave doubts about his prospects." The op-ed was written by Conan O'Brien himself.
Whoa.
Hilarious, right? Then there's this. Imagine doing this. Today I learned that there's an entire horror movie filmed inside the U.S. Disney parks without permission. Actors and crew dressed up as tourists and filmed over 2 weeks in each park. Disney chose to ignore the movie, most likely to avoid giving it further attention. It premiered at Sundance.
Whoa. That's awesome.
Isn't that hilarious?
That's hilarious. That's really crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway. All right, shower thoughts.
Shower thoughts. Okay.
Shower thoughts.
I'll start them off. There could be a bug or an animal that camouflages itself so well that no human has ever noticed they exist.
That's called Bigfoot.
Yep.
All right. A telltale sign that you're becoming an adult is when you first realize how freaking fast dust forms.
Oh, what's the movie called? That's a good question, Amador. I did pull it up earlier and I can't remember the name of it. It's Today I Learned. Sorry, let's answer this question.
Okay, Jordan's gonna be looking that up. I'm gonna keep telling shower thoughts.
Go for it.
Shower thoughts. Okay. I thought this was funny too. The day cheese becomes an acceptable gift is the day you officially become an adult.
That's so true. Oh, so
the movie's called Escape from Tomorrow.
I'll pull up the art so they can see it. Escape from Tomorrow.
That looks cool.
That does kind of.
That looks
cool.
fun. That might be a good movie to watch.
Yeah. Okay. More shower thoughts. There you go, Amador. We are here to answer your questions. Maybe nudists just really don't like doing laundry.
Very true. Very true. The more dangerous you are with a gun, the less dangerous you are with a gun.
Super true. So true.
Isn't that good?
A lawyer's job is to protect you from other lawyers.
I despise. It's hard for me, man.
I know.
Lawyers are tough for me. Okay.
I'm with you.
It's because I get it. Like I know there's things that they're good for some situations, but it's just such an abused system.
Yep.
Okay.
So is healthcare.
Okay, this is kind of interesting.
But keep going.
If cats could fly, which is a funny thought, we'd rarely see them in the air unless they were hunting birds. They'd mostly stare at us condescendingly from the tops of buildings and utility poles.
That's so true. Cats are demons. Okay.
Evil.
If someone had told you on April 1st, 2019, that a year later the entire world would be locked down with thousands dead, you would have thought they were bad at April Fool's jokes.
Dude. Seriously. Ugh. It's terrible. Okay, this is something I thought about myself, okay? Sure, I thought myself. There's always a spot in the universe where if you have a powerful enough telescope, you can see anything that's ever happened on the Earth.
Oh, weird.
Like, if you have a powerful enough telescope and, I guess, a powerful enough spaceship to move you faster than the speed of light,
right?
You could always end up in a spot where you could see different times of the Earth.
That's so true. That's so
Isn't that cool?
So, speaking of spaceships and faster than light travel, it actually makes sense that they used physical media in Star Wars instead of digital copies. When you have a ship that can go faster than light, it's probably much, much quicker to just bring someone a disc than it is to try and email it to them.
Ooh. That's a good point.
Isn't that
That's
weird?
A great point. Yeah. That's all the shower thoughts I had.
Let's see if I have any good last ones here. Here's a good one. You'll like this one. I actually picked this one for you. No matter where you go, you never see anyone with the same refrigerator as you.
That's a good point. That's a great point. That's so true.
Isn't that weird?
That's madness.
Like, why is that?
Dude, I don't know. That's funny. That's a good point, though.
Super good point. Anyway.
Such a good point.
Yeah. So.
Awesome.
Anyway,
right, guys.
We could keep going on forever about COVID and shower thoughts and all that, but
All that fun stuff.
We have stuff to do.
We got a challenge for next week. We'll see if we can make it happen. Beep, 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 beep,
yeah,
beep,
we got to find stuff that's not COVID related. That's going to be difficult. Woo! I know. But fun.
It'll be fun.
I like it.
All right, guys. Well, thanks for listening to Testing Normal.
Episode
Hit subscribe
56.
on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. Let us know what you like. Let us know what you don't like, because there's plenty of that good stuff going around.
There's tons of stuff.
And hopefully you have a great week. We'll talk to you later.
See you guys.